Oh yeah. It's chapter time, baby. 1045. Oh my god. So there's not a whole lot that I could talk about before the actual chapter, other than the more meta stuff. But yeah, 1045 named Next Level. In reference to Gear 5th that happened last week. I feel vindicated this chapter. You'll see why later, but I made a prediction earlier. I don't know if I ever put in a video. I think I was going to make a theory on it. I'm not sure if I ever talked about it, though. That Luffy would eventually get a certain power-up that he got in this chapter. I'm not going to spoil what, but I had an idea, and my god, it did. Okay, so the chapter opens with just Kaido's thoughts on what he straight up says, I was sure you were dead after that. And Luffy's just like, oh, so was I. This is a surprise to us both. And, of course, Kaido hit him full force with what would have normally been a kill shot, but Luffy being Luffy and having eaten the fruit he didn't die. But then we get an interesting point of dialogue from Kaido. It seems, at least to me, that we will not be that far off from at least Luffy having an idea that his fruit isn't all he has been told. Because Kaido says, since you're able to make your surroundings rubbery, it should be safe to say you awakened your paramecia fruit. But something about this feels off. A transformation like this is more typical of a Zoan fruit, which just puts into perspective the fact that I feel like if we've been paying attention to Luffy this entire time, we might have been able to put together that his fruit wasn't a paramecia. I was going to come out and make the bold claim a while back that Luffy had eaten a rubber Logia fruit. It wasn't a paramecia. That's why he was able to take bullets like he did earlier, but we never knew because he's not like an intangible thing like Ace or Sabo or Marco or any of those were. He was a physical thing, not, like I said, an element like fire. And then we get to see one of the coolest, not juxtapositions, but very, very quickly we get to see the power difference. A few chapters back when Luffy was fighting Kaido tried to eat him. And then he threw him and then blasted him with a bola breath. This chapter, Kaido gets Luffy in his mouth and he swallows Luffy. But that's not the end, because Luffy seemingly pinballs inside of Kaido and then uses a move that I'm fairly certain we've seen him use before, Gum Gum Balloon, where he just fucking inflates into a ball. And it's so cool. Because this is completely unrelated, but this harkens back to a scene when he fought Crocodile, where Robin laughed at him. A genuine laugh. And as we found out last chapter, Joy Boy is able to make people smile and laugh. He brings joy. And yet, in that scene, he made someone who doesn't usually smile or laugh smile and laugh. It's just something interesting that I realized. I don't know if that was on purpose, but that's something I noticed. Gum Gum Balloon is so massive that Kaido is obviously in pain. But Momonosuke, who is with Yamato and is going up to the roof, comments, "The hell is going on?" And Yamato responds, "No idea. It looks like Kaido put on weight." Is this some form of his? Meaning that Yamato does not know all of Kaido's abilities, which I don't think would be a thing. And then Kaido again says, "How are you doing this? Your body's meant to be rubbery, not mine." Which is all due to the fact that this is his awakening. Like Kaido said, he can make his surroundings rubbery, but he shouldn't be able to make other people. And then Luffy fucking punches out of Kaido's eyes in a very cartoony fashion. And then he's escape rocket to shoot himself out. This entire time, Luffy's laughing and laughing. But then we get to see something very interesting. Luffy... This is the part of the chapter that I'm not even going to be able to contain my excitement for. He uses Gomu Gomu no Gigant, which is his giant form. And this is the power-up that I thought was going to come for so long. I didn't know if it was going to be an Elbaf thing or what. Because in my mind, it makes sense. He needs a form to take on a giant. Why not have a form of a giant? So, the fact that Luffy is able to do this using, in my opinion, a way more souped-up version of Gear 3rd, because he is inflating his own body, which was the basis of my idea, but no, he has just seemingly blown himself up to Kaido's scale. Not just to his scale, to the point where he can use Gomu Gomu no Jump Rope and treat Kaido like a jump rope. And this is all going on in midair. And then he throws Kaido down. Kaido uses a blast breath and it hits Luffy. And Luffy comments, "It burns! It burns!" Yamato is noticing that he took it head on, which I don't think we've ever seen someone do and come out alive. And Luffy is burnt to a crisp, literally burnt black. And then he runs in midair, leaving a path of flames like the Roadrunner from the Looney Tunes cartoons, and goes to hit Kaido with a punch, but Kaido uses 3 World Conquests Ragnarok, and he wallops Luffy into the castle on Onigashima. His head smashes through. We see that Law, Kid, Chopper, Nami, and Tommy, right? Otama, right? There are 2 little girls in Wano. I don't remember their names each. They are all doing the cartoon Ooga Booga eyes, where their eyes pop out of their skull, which is such... It shows that Luffy's ability is not just making everything around him rubbery, it's making everything around him cartoony. Then Luffy pulls his head back out of the castle, snaps his head back to normal, and Kaido comments that this looks like something out of a picture book, which I'm gonna guess is supposed to be like a cartoon or a comic book. And he says, "I'll admit you put on quite the show, but still, you're at the end of your rope. You can't beat me." And then we see Luffy doing his normal Luffy thing. He's gonna insist that, "No, I can do this. I'm far from done." And then we get a 4-page thing of him defaulting back to his normal form. And then beyond that, he's tired. He is, as he himself says, beat. And he's just done. He's deflated. He is seemingly dying. And Kaido comments, "You can rest easy and die. Tales will be told about how you've all fought this war." But before that, Luffy makes a comment, "Okay, you're right. I'm about to croak. This is taking a lot out of me." So, Kaido stops fighting and sits down to have a conversation with Luffy while he's dying. Kaido didn't kill him. Luffy has run himself dry. Which is very similar to how Kaido and Oden happened. Because when Oden threw the vassals off on the platform, he had a conversation with Kaido before he died. And they were talking about the whole, I don't care if people never talk about me again. I'm a story to accompany your drinks. That's happening with Luffy. Kaido is showing him the exact same amount of respect as Oden, which I don't think a lot of people are putting into scale. Oden was the only man until Zoro to be able to wound Kaido and quite potentially be his strongest opponent, because Oden was probably on scale after the years he spent with Whitebeard and Roger. He was probably on par with Whitebeard before the years they spent together. So when we see Oden versus Whitebeard, by the time Oden died, I'm sure he was about Whitebeard's level. And the only reason Kaido even won that fight was because he got a cheap shot on him and didn't have the ability to be like, okay, that doesn't count. Rematch that later. He kind of had to suck it up. Back onto the chapter though. Luffy says, "It doesn't matter. Who cares about that? When you're dead, only your bones stick around," which harkens back to the line from Binks Brew or Binks Sake, which is, after all is said and done, we'll all be skeletons, or we'll be skeletons, whatever. I don't know if that's on purpose, if the wording of the translation was just weird. I don't know what the kanji said, if it was some kind of parallel, but that's just like, I realized. I could be grasping at straws for no reason, but that's it. And we also get a confirmation from Yamato that Luffy's hair and clothes were white the entire time, which means that the color I did last week or 2 weeks ago, last week, was inaccurate. It should have been white, but white doesn't make for very engaging color. So even for the giant one that I think I'm going to do the panel of now, he's going to have the fire hair, and he's going to have whatever color shirt I decide on. I might give him a white shirt, I don't know. But I'm going to do my own thing for the colors. His color palette is confirmed, though, so don't kill me. Momonosuke comments, Luffy's voice is still fading quick. And Luffy enters a pose similar to his Gear second, with his legs spread out and his fist down. He says, "We're not done yet. Isn't that right? Momo, Tama, Kinemon, Pedro." The first time Pedro has been brought up since, like, the Minks fought Kaido. Or since the Minks fought, fuck is his name? Candy Guy. I forget his name. There are too many characters, man. I also hate him, so why the fuck would I remember? And Kaido has to comment, "You're really gonna kill yourself." So Kaido is fully confident Luffy is going to croak, like he himself just said. And Luffy, we get a wide shot, but he is in the Gear second pose, and he says, "After all of this, do you really think something like death can scare me? Get loud again, heartbeat." He is using his own rubber body to make his heart beat faster and to keep his heart beating. Not good. Not sure if that's good for his life force, because Gear 2nd took a toll on his life force. Gear 4th had the limit of his hockey, but I'm sure it also had some kind of effect on his life force. We finally have the limit of Gear 5th, and we know what the downside is immediately. He is going to die if he overuses it, and if he doesn't, then he's gonna drain his own life force. This also brings up the question, because Luffy is dying as he turns back into his normal form, but the second he gets his heartbeat going again, he's back to Gear 5th mode. So does that mean that this is Luffy's semi-permanent form? Or is this something he can turn off? Because this could easily be his full beast form for his Zoan fruit. This could just be a hybrid form that he doesn't know how to turn off. Because I view this similar to, from what I know of Kaioken in Dragon Ball. If he overuses it, he's going to die. He has to turn it off whenever he can. So this entire time, he's making himself die and come back, die and come back, die and come back. He's going to have to get with a Zoan user to be able to know how to turn it off, which would either be Yamato or Momonosuke, since they're close by. If it's Momonosuke, we get the Momo reveal soon-ish, maybe. That is probably not how it's going to go, though. Luffy takes a Baguio to the head. His face goes all cartoony. The fucking spikes go right through it. And he yells, "It hurts," while using the Roadrunner legs again. And Kaido just straight up smashes Luffy. But Luffy turns the ground around him into rubber, and he goes flat. And then, using the elasticity from the rubber, in 3 seconds, he shoots back to normal form, using the momentum to close in on Kaido. And then he uses either a swinging punch or a flurry of punches in a circular motion. Unsure. And then we get a secondary confirmation from Kaido that also links in with how Gear 5th works, seemingly. What in the world is he? This pure white transformation. He's coated with armament and Conqueror's Haki, and he can influence anything around him with his ability. He fights with such freedom, so versatile. I've never seen anything like it. Meaning, one, obviously, the wording here, he fights with such freedom. Joy Boy was the guy who brought freedom. Nika was the god that the slaves prayed to for freedom. So the fact that he can fight so free is kind of funny, or on purpose. It's cool anyway. It's a cool, like, not callback, but it's a cool, I forget the word. It's a cool ability, and it's nice that Oda worded it that way. But he's coated with armament and Conqueror's Haki. He's not getting the normal, like, hardening armament Haki. He just has normal hands. Meaning that Luffy, because even when he used, embedded Conqueror, or, armament Haki, he still used normal armament, like, hardening Haki. Not on the parts that he used it on, because he punched. I'm actually forgetting if he used it on his hands when punching with imbued or not. Don't count that. But, like, he's fighting Kaido right now with just straight hands, making me think he's using something similar to the admirals at Marineford, like the invisible force around their hands that can just wallop. He could also be using advanced imbuement Conqueror's Haki. I don't know. And Kaido gets his big haha villain line. There is no one in this world capable of taking me down. And then we get to see it was a built-up spinning attack that Luffy was doing. The punch goes directly through Kaido's head. And if it wasn't One Piece, he would probably be fucking dead or knocked the fuck out. And we get to see that he does go down from it. He is on his back, coughing up blood, which isn't really a big sign, but, like, Luffy landed a devastating punch on him. Probably the most devastating blow in Gear 5th thus far. And to wrap the chapter out, we have Luffy saying, "I'm having the time of my life. Kaido." Oh my god. Before I forget, we are not on break next week from what I remember. But this chapter is, compared to last chapter, it's not as massive, right? Last chapter we had a huge reveal for Luffy. The fact that his Devil Fruit was different. We've been lied to for 25 years, or 24. Well, actually, we're coming up in 25 because of the event that's happening due to the color spread on the beginning of the chapter. But for 25 years, we thought it was a Gum Fruit. It's not. That's a massive reveal. But this is bringing that reveal and bringing it down a notch. Because the way it was worded, he can fight as far as his imagination can take him. But that's not it. He does still have a limit. He can't just keep fighting on and on and on. Like I said, odds are he's probably draining his life force as he does this. But it's Luffy. He doesn't fucking care. As long as he can fight and win, he doesn't care the consequences. We saw that versus Kuzan back on fucking Long Ring Longland. But my god, dude, this chapter... Ugh. Like I said, it's nothing major compared to last chapter. Last chapter was huge. But this is still an amazing chapter. We've been getting nothing but, like, 9s or 10s for a while. But this does bring me to a point I want to make before I wrap this chapter up. Luffy died. Seemingly once guaranteed, twice kind of, this chapter being the second one. So, if Luffy can bring himself back to life, can he bring others back to life? And this leads me to why I bring this up. Zoro. If Zoro was dead, like actually 100% done and dusted, he died during his fight with King. That leads me to what I think will happen. Because everyone's been saying Oda isn't going to kill off Zoro. He's the number 2. That would be too much for Oda to do. We can't just move on from Zoro. But what if he did die, but Luffy's new fruit was almost a no-you card? It flips it so that Zoro comes back, which leads me to something that we haven't had a lot of clarification on. I don't know if I went into this in some other chapter review. They all kind of mesh together and I forget stuff. What makes a Black Blade? We don't know. We know that Enma isn't a Black Blade yet, even though Odin was a super powerful swordsman. But we do know one person who has a hardened blade, or a black blade. That's Mihawk. Mihawk trained Zoro. And the way Mihawk said it, and the way we get the flashback during Dressrosa when Zoro's fighting Pika, it seems to be something to do with armament haki, possibly Conqueror's haki to some extent. But what if the final piece to make a blade a black blade is to face death and come out the other side alive? Like, we don't know what Mihawk went through in his years to make a black blade. So what if you have to either get beaten so much that you're on the verge of death but still come out of it, or you actually have to die in a fight in combat? You have to die and somehow come back, either through just your will to live being so forceful that you just pop back into reality, or similar to how I think this is going to happen with Zoro, an outside force. That could lead to a really cool thing with Shanks and Mihawk. If we turn out that Mihawk died in a sword fight or something, got stabbed in the back, and he was dead, and Shanks somehow saved him. That would make their bond make sense because they're so close. And that makes sense how Mihawk has a black blade. We can't discredit anything. No idea for how to make a black blade is too obscene in my mind. Other than the fact, like, oh, you have to eat the Ooga Booga fruit and punch someone in the dick. I don't fucking know. But, like, there are, within the limits of One Piece, there is anything we can do to say how a black blade happens. There are the more realistic, like, has to be from constant pumping Conquerors or armament haki into it. It needs a sacrifice. It needs to be dipped in a volcano. It needs to break and be reforged to become a black blade. We don't know. All I know is that this chapter has some massive implications for One Piece. If Luffy can just shrug off death, as it seems he can. Again, he might not just be shrugging it off. It might be taking a toll on him, chipping away at his life force. But for all intents and purposes, he is dodging, actually not even dodging. He is getting rolled over by the death train twice, like in a very short time frame, and then coming back. And let's not forget the fact that we do have a built-in time limit here. The Onigashima is going to be over the Flower Capital. The lanterns from the Flower Capital are coming up. We have to wrap this fight up soon. So, an idea I saw tossed around on Twitter was, what if the Nika fruit, as I'm just going to call it, I'm not calling it the fucking Hito no Mi model Nika, it's the Nika fruit. What if that fruit, and what if why Luffy has white hair and a white outfit is because this is nighttime? And when the sun comes up and Luffy's well lit, his hair becomes a fire, everything becomes red, or orange as it would be. And that's the sun god. Right now, he's not at full power yet. And we could get a really powerful image of Luffy doing the sun god pose, how we saw him last chapter, in front of the rising sun, with all the lanterns from the Flower Capital coming up behind him. Kaido is down with the text boxes. Luffy versus Kaido. Winner, Luffy. Would be fucking epic. But, yeah. And the thing is, this was never... I'm gonna say something that I did hear Grand Line Review say in a video. The fight earlier, before Luffy got knocked out, possibly killed, was never referred to as Luffy versus Kaido, or the final fight, or whatever. It was the fight on the rooftop, right? I'm misremembering possibly, but that's where I'm going with this. This is Luffy versus Kaido. The earlier fight, for the fact that Luffy and Kaido were both landing devastating shots, Luffy was pushing himself to his limit, that was a warm-up. This is the final fight. This chapter review is going on for far too long, and I am running out on tangents that I don't need to fucking run off on. Massive implications for One Piece, possibly. Super hyped that I predicted the giant form. I know that I did predict it at least to a friend of mine. I don't know if I ever put it in a video or talked about it, whatever. But yeah, this chapter is fucking amazing. Oda is insane, and we get another chapter next week. But then he goes on break, and then a chapter, and then a break again, I think is what the schedule is. We might get 2 chapters in a row, and then a break. I don't know. There is a schedule out there floating around. You can look it up. But I'm going to wrap this video up so that I'm done talking. If you enjoyed the video and my tangents and my rants and everything, and One Piece in general, be sure to subscribe because I do videos for every chapter where I just talk about whatever I want to talk about for the chapter while also walking through and breaking some stuff down. I don't hit on some of the more deep cut stuff like Grand Line Review does in his videos because he kind of gives himself time to sit in the feelings. Versus me, I do a very read it, few hours later, record the audio. Usually I read this at about like 9 in the morning and then record it at some time over the weekend, or read it at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. Record the audio somewhere in the weekend. But this chapter came out like an hour or two ago. I'm recording this right now at 9:37 on Thursday night. This is the earliest I recorded audio, and I think I'm going to do the color for this chapter tomorrow, 3 o'clock-ish. And then the chapter should be going up after that. I've experimented with a new thumbnail idea. Last chapter, taking the color, making it kind of minimalist. I have ideas for how I'm going to do this thumbnail because there's not really a whole lot of good screenshots I can use, given that this is a big spoiler that the anime obviously haven't covered. I might be using the color page or the cover page for Shonen Jump. Might be using the color that we got. I don't know. But if you enjoyed this video, enjoyed ranting, me going off on tangents, anything, subscribe. I do this every week. If you like this video in particular, any of the theories I brought up, any of the rants I went on, anything about it, make sure to drop a like because that lets me know people are enjoying the videos. And I'm not standing in front of my microphone talking to no one for no reason. If you want me to talk about some other topic, a theory of some sort, my thoughts on something, whatever, drop in the comments because that is just a good thing to do. I have videos coming out eventually, like I always fucking keep saying. I have theory videos that I've written out, scripted fully, recorded audio for, but I have to re-record it because my microphone is fucking dog shit half the time. But I don't want to put out a shitty video, so I'm going to try to solo edit all my stuff as I can. Hopefully one of those theories comes out soon, but I'm not going to make any promises. This has been my review of Chapter 1045, Next Level, and until 1046 comes out, this has been me doing my weekly, semi-weekly, my chapter reviews for One Piece. And until next time, stay safe, have fun, and read more manga. Okay, guys, bye.